Very good morning, students. This is your English teacher. In the previous class, we saw a poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening written by Robert Frost. In the previous class itself, I explained about the author and how valuable this line, the last two lines of this poem, and a little bit information about Jawaharlal Nehru. And we today we go through the remaining stanzas. You see, this is Robert Frost and about the author also. And we have the remaining stanzas today. I once again sum up what we have seen in the previous class. Once the poet, our poet Robert Frost, happened to travel through the dense woods. I once again repeat the meaning of the woods. It's a particular landmass with all type of trees and scrubs like that. In other words, we can say like forest or small forest. And he was traveled through the dense woods on his horse. It was a cold evening, that is a winter season, and with heavy snowfall. And enchanted, attracted by the beauty of the woods, our poet suddenly stopped to admire and watch the scene of the woods, and which is being covered with snow. The poet seemed to know to whom the woods belonged. He made confirm that the owner of the forest is not near. He may be somewhere else near the village. And he guessed that the owner of the woods must be residing at the village and would not know that the poet had stopped at his woods enjoying the snowfall there. Like that, I explained the first stanza. நம்ம குதிரையில் ஒரு நாள் பயணப்பட்டு இருக்கும்போது அடர்ந்த காட்டில் பனிப்பொழிகிற அழகை ரசிக்கிறதுக்காக நம்ம போயிட்டு தன்னுடைய குதிரையை நிப்பாட்டுறாரு அப்படின்னு நம்ம பார்த்தோம். Again, I go through the first stanza. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. For recollection, I ask you some questions. In the first line itself, what does the word woods refer? Woods refer to forest or small forest. Here, I refers to our poet Robert Frost. And the second line, his house. Whose house is referred here? The owner of the forest's house in the village though. And he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. Being attracted by the snow-falling forest, our poet stopped the horse and started enjoying the forest. And I go to the second stanza. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. You see the highlighted words. Little horse, queer, farmhouse, frozen lake, the darkest evening. And I explain the word, the little horse. The little horse. Whose horse is referred here? The poet Robert Frost's horse referred here. You see the adjective used before the horse. Little. The horse is very little. And think it queer. What is mean by queer? Strange, different, unusual. Queer means strange, different, unusual. And see the another word, farmhouse. What is mean by a farmhouse? It's a type of house where we have our field. In Tamil, we can say பண்ணை வீடு. வயல்வெளிகள் சூழ்ந்த இடங்களில் இருக்கிற வீடு, அதுதான் பண்ணை வீடு, ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் அப்படிம்போம். Between the woods and frozen lake. In the first stanza, the poet introduced the woods, the snow-falling woods. In second stanza, he introduced one more thing, frozen lake. And nearby the woods, there is a lake. You see how the lake is? It is completely frozen. Frozen means it became ice form. The water of the lake completely become frozen. The darkest evening of the year. That evening was the darkest one. Okay, I explained the second stanza, first line. My little horse must think it queer. Before that, we have to connect the first stanza first stanza. And in the first stanza ending, we saw the poet stopped his horse suddenly to enjoy the beauty of the forest. That time, his little horse, my little horse must think. It is the little horse of the poet started thinking it is queer. What is mean by queer? Strange, different, unusual. And it looks very different. Why the poet stopped the horse? Like that, the horse started thinking. And you see the second line, and it is a different and strange, unusual, means to stop without a farmhouse near. There is no farmhouse nearby the woods or lake. Then why the poet stopped me without any reason? Like that, the horse started thinking. You see the third line, between the woods and frozen lake. Actually, there is a forest. There is which means there is a forest. There is a wood, and opposite or nearby the woods there is a frozen lake. You see, between the frozen lake and woods there is no any farmhouse at all. Then why he stopped me? Like that, the horse started thinking. You see the last line of the second stanza, the darkest evening of the year. That evening was only the darkest one. You see, I explained the stanza from the last line itself. This is the darkest evening of the year. There are woods and frozen lake. Between the woods and frozen lake there is no a farmhouse. And why he stopped me without any reason? Like that, the horse started thinking. That is the meaning of a second stanza. I once again sum up the meaning of second stanza. According to the speaker, his little horse, which means the poet's little horse, started thinking it looks very different or a strange or unusual thing to stop at a place, which means to stop midway of a journey. And why he stopped between the frozen lake and the woods where there is not even a farmhouse, and it was the darkest evening of the year too. In Tamil, அந்த அவரோட நம்ம கவிஞரோட குதிரை திடீர்னு வித்தியாசமாக நினைக்க ஆரம்பிக்குது. ஏன் இந்த இடத்துல அவர் சடனாக நிறுத்தியிருக்காரு? ஏன்னா அந்த அடர்ந்த காட்டுக்கும் அந்த ஃப்ரோசன் லேக்குக்கும் இடையில் எந்த ஒரு ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் கூட இல்லையே. இந்த ஈவினிங் வர இன்றைக்கி ரொம்ப டார்க்கஸ்ட்டாக இருக்கே. ஏன் இவர் இங்கே நம்மளை இங்கே நிப்பாட்டியிருக்கிறார்? விச் மீன்ஸ் குதிரையை ஏன் இங்கே நிப்பாட்டியிருக்காரு அப்படின்னு அது திங்க் பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்குது. Okay students, I once again read the second stanza. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Okay, we go to the third stanza. He gives his harness bells a shake. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Again, the third stanza starts with the word he. Whom does he refer to? Actually, he refers to the poet's little horse. You see, in second stanza, it started wondering, which means the horse started wondering why we were stopped nearby. Then he did one more thing. The horse gives his harness bells a shake. You see the word harness bells. What is mean by harness? And it is a kind of traps and fittings by which a horse or cow is fastened to a cart or carriage. Fastened to a cart or carriage. In Tamil we can say சேனை. அதாவது இப்போ குதிரை, எருது போன்ற விலங்குகளை வண்டியில் பூட்டுவதற்காக பயன்படுத்துகிற அந்த விஷயங்களை தான் நம்ம சேனை அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். அந்த சேனையில் அழகுக்காகவும் ஒரு நல்ல வித்தியாசமான ஒலிக்காகவும் மணிகளை கட்டி தொங்க விட்டுருப்பாங்க. அதை தான் நம்ம ஹார்னஸ் பெல்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். யூ see, he gives his harness bells a shake. After wondering why we were stopped in the midway, the horse started to shake his harness bells. You remember, not the poet shaked the harness bells. Horse itself shaked the harness bells. And why he made that sound? You see the next line. To ask if there is some mistake. Actually, the horse made this sound because he wanted to ask the poet if there is some mistake. Actually, this thing will happen in everyone's life. Actually, if we are started to travel to somewhere, means we were going for we were going or we were traveling for some time. If we were stopped suddenly in a midway, everyone will ask the normal questions. Why the bus was stopped? Is there any other reason? Why is there any breakdown? And nearby there is no tea shops, there is no hotels, there is no any restaurants. And why the driver stopped the bus in a middle way? Like that we will ask questions. So that like that the little horse also wanted to know why we were stopped. For that only he made an indirect question. That means he made his harness bells shake to ask if there is some mistake. Next one, see the third line. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind on downy flake. You see the underlined words, ma. Sweep of easy wind on downy flake. Then the horse explained what are all the sounds heard nearby. And there are two sounds heard nearby. One is sweep of easy wind and downy flake. I explained sweep of easy wind. What is mean by sweep? To move swiftly and smoothly. மெதுவாக செல்கின்ற அந்த காற்று. Easy wind. You see, the poet used the word easy wind, which means the wind is not rough there because it is a evening time, so the wind blows very smoothly. So only he used the word easy wind. See ma, sweep of easy wind. And the horse can hear the sweep of easy wind. That is the one more sound. And another one, and downy flake. You see the word downy flake. Downy means soft and fluffy. Flake means snowflake. அதாவது பனித்துகள்கள் இல்லை பனித்துளிகள். அந்த டவுனி ஃப்ளேக்கு பனித்துளிகள் விழுற அந்த சத்தமும் மெல்லிய காற்றோட சத்தமும் மட்டுமே அந்த இடத்துல கேட்குது. You see, the only other sounds, the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. These are the sounds heard nearby, and there is no more sounds near the woods. Like that, the horse explained the sounds of the place. I once again sum up the meaning of third stanza. You see, the little horse gives a shake to the bells attached to its neck. You see the word attached to its neck. That is what we call senai. As if to ask whether there was any mistake. The only sounds heard other than the jingling of the bells. Jingling of the bells were the sounds of mild wind and falling of the soft snowflakes. I once again repeat the word, Seema. Jingling of the bells, sound of mild wind and falling of the soft smooth snowflakes. Okay, I once again read the third stanza. I already told you, this is a memory poem. He gives his honest bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. I think all of you got it. And we see the last stanza. That is the most wonderful and beautiful lines. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. Actually, before going to the fourth stanza, we have to remember some kind of explanations, which means in the first stanza he stopped. In the second stanza, the horse started wandering. Third stanza, the horse made some gestures, which means making or shaking the harness bells. Like that we saw. And you see the fourth stanza, after hearing the harness bells, our poet and came to real life, which means on enjoying the beauty, he came After enjoying the beauty of the forest, he came real life after hearing the harness bells. Then he says these words. You see, the first line of the fourth stanza. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. In the first line itself, the poet explained how the woods look like. You see the words lovely, dark and deep. Lovely, as we already know the meaning. And dark, here dark means as it is a night time, the forest looks very dark. And see the another word deep. Deep means not in depth. Actually, that is a thick, dense forest. That is a thick and dense forest. He explained like that. You see, the forest is lovely, dark and deep. These words resemble the poet really enjoyed watching the forest. You see, the words are lovely, dark and deep. Then immediately he changed his mood to next. But I have promises to keep. Actually, I can't stay here to enjoy this lovely, dark and deep forest because I have promises to keep. Here the word I refers to our poet Robert Frost. That is, he has promises to keep. You see the word promises to keep, which means he had some promises to complete. In other words, we can say he has some works and responsibilities to work out. He had some responsibilities to work out. So he can't stay here, the woods, to enjoy the lovely and dark, deep, snow falling woods. See the third line. And miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. Actually, these two lines only attracted our former Prime Minister. And I explain and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. You see, miles to go. Actually, he was traveling to somewhere and he stopped in a midway and he had miles to travel. That is, he had to travel a certain distance before I sleep. Here I also refer to our poet. Before I sleep. I can read this line like this. Before I sleep, I have miles to go. Before I sleep, I have miles to go. In Tamil, உறங்குவதற்கு முன் பிரயாணப்பட வேண்டிய மைல்கள் இன்னும் இருக்கிறது. Actually, the poet here indirectly says one idea and one thing. You see the word for sleep. Here it refers to normal sleeping. And one more thing, sleep means eternal sleep. Sleep means eternal sleep, which means nothing but death. Nothing but death. I explain. Before I am going to die, I have miles to go. Actually, as sleep indirectly refers to death, here miles to go also indirectly refers our responsibilities, our duties and our works. Whatever we have responsibilities and duties and works, we have to complete it before we are going to die. Before we are going to die. That is the idea indirectly conveyed by Robert Frost in these lines. I once again repeat and miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. Okay, I sum up the meaning of fourth stanza. The speaker, the poet, was really captivated and really attracted and really spellbound by the lovely, dark and deep woods. But he remains himself. Actually, he remains himself after hearing the horn bells that he cannot stay on. That he cannot stay on there to enjoy the woods because he has promises. I once again repeat the word promises, which means responsibilities and duties to keep. And to keep means we have to work out. We have to complete our responsibilities and duties. And there lot many things to do before he goes to sleep. Sleep means death. In Tamil, I explained the fourth stanza. அதாவது இவ்வளவு அடர்ந்த அழகிய வனத்தினுடைய அழகை ரசிக்கிறதுக்காக நின்ற அந்த கவிஞர் திடீர்னு கேட்ட அந்த குதிரையினுடைய மணி ஒலிகளை கேட்ட உடனே தன்னோட நிஜ உலகத்துக்கு வராரு. இந்த வனம் இவ்வளவு அழகாகவும் அடர்ந்தும் நல்ல பனிப்பொழிந்து கொண்டு இருக்குது, உண்மைதான். இதனோட அழகையே நாம் ரசிச்சுக்கிட்டு இங்கேயே இருந்துட்டோம் அப்படின்னா நாம் இன்னும் பிரயாணப்பட வேண்டிய தூரம் இன்னும் இருக்குமே அப்படிங்கிறாரு. சரியா? அதனால் இங்கே ரொம்ப நேரம் நின்று இதை பார்க்கறது நல்லதில்லை அப்படின்னு அவரை நினச்சிட்டு தன்னோட பயணத்தை அவர் மறுபடியும் தொடங்குறாரு அப்படின்றது தான். ஆக்சுவலி the poet Robert Frost indirectly said some valuable ideas in this poem. Actually, in other words, I explained every creature on this earth is we are here. Every creature are here for some kind of responsibilities and duties, which means everyone here for some reason, which means everyone have some responsibilities and duties to perform throughout our lifetime before going to death. That is the motto of our creation. Even the rose, even the flowers, even the birds, and every creature on this earth is born with certain responsibilities and duties. In Tamil, பூனா அது மலரணும். அதாவது நாம் மனிதர்களும் பார்த்தோன்னா நம்மளோட சிறப்பான கடமைகளை ஆற்றுறது தான் நம்மளோட வாழ்நாளோட குறிக்கோள் அப்படின்றது தான். சரிங்களா? அப்போது எவ்ரி ஒன் ஹாவ் டு கம்ப்ளீட் அவர் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டிஸ் வித் அட்மோஸ்ட் ஹானஸ்டி பிஃபோர் அவர் டெத் அப்படின்றது தான். நாம் இருப்பதற்கு முன் ஆற்ற வேண்டிய கடமைகளை நாம் எப்போவுமே நாம் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு விஷயத்தை தான் இந்த கவிஞர் காடு, குதிரை, அந்த சேனையோட மணி ஒலிகள் அப்படின்றதெல்லாம் வச்சு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுறாரு அப்படின்றது தான். இன்டைரக்ட்லி இட் சேஸ் ஒன் மோர் ஐடியா. யூ சி, த போயட் refers to none but all human beings. You see the woods. Woods means something will attract us throughout our journey. We should never be there on enjoying the beauty only, because the way we have to travel is far away. நம்ம கடக்க வேண்டிய தூரம் இன்னும் இருக்குது அப்படின்றது தான். அப்போது நம்ம ஒவ்வொருத்தரும் தன்னுடைய கடமைகளை ஆற்ற வேண்டியதற்காக நாம் ஒவ்வொருத்தரும் பிரயாணப்பட்டு இருக்கிறோம். ஆக்சுவலி லைஃப் அப்படின்றதே பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா ஒரு ஜேர்னி மாதிரி தானே. அந்த ஜேர்னியில் நம்மளோட கவனத்தை சிதறடிக்கக்கூடிய விஷயங்கள் சில வரும், சிலது எல்லாம் அங்கேயே இருக்கும். ஆமாம், அதையே நம்ம பார்த்து அங்கேயே நம்ம நின்றுட்டோம் அப்படின்னா நம்ம பயணப்படுற தூரம் இன்னும் அதிகமாகிட்டு தான் போகும் அப்படின்றது. அப்போ அதையெல்லாம் நம்ம கவனத்தில் கொள்ளாமல் நம்மளோட கடமைகளையும் பொறுப்புகளையும் ஆற்றுறது தான் நம்மளோட பிறவி பயன் அப்படின்றத இன்டைரக்டாக இந்த போயமில் சொல்லியிருக்கார். தேங்க்யூ ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ். I hope all of you understood the poem. In next class we see the lesson. Thank you.